Welcome to Cold Brew Finance's end-of-week World Currencies, Stock Markets and Commodities Deep Dive for Friday, June 6, 2025. Kicking things off, I'm Victoria Cashmore. Major currencies show broad weakness in the US dollar. The greenback exhibited very strong negative trends against both the euro and British pound, closing at 0.8775 and 0.7392 respectively. Against the yen, it strengthened to 144.81. Weekly returns show notable declines, with the dollar down nearly 0.4% against the euro and over 0.5% versus the pound. Year-to-date performance reveals significant weakness, with the greenback falling over 9% against the euro. Long-term performance metrics show the dollar's weakness persisting. Against the Swiss franc, it's down 12.5% over 10 years. The brightest spot is versus the Australian dollar, where it's gained 17.5% over the same period. Among Asian currencies, the dollar showed mixed performance. It strengthened against the Indian rupee by 0.3% to 85.74, while weakening versus the Singapore dollar. The offshore yuan saw the greenback retreat 0.22%. Short-term returns highlight weakness in the dollar. Notable weekly declines include 0.82% against the New Zealand dollar. Year-to-date, the greenback has fallen nearly 7% versus the Kiwi. 10-year performance shows the dollar strongest against the Indian rupee, up 33.9%. However, it's declined against the Singapore dollar by 5% over the same period, reflecting long-term Asian currency dynamics.
Looking at global stock market tracking ETFs, I'm Max Profit. South Korea leads the pack with an 8.1% gain to 65.57, showing a very strong positive trend and 4 consecutive weekly gains. Turkey rose 5.4% despite hitting a new one-year low last week. Weekly returns show South Korea with the strongest performance at 8.1%, while year-to-date returns reach 28.8%. Turkey shows a 5.4% weekly gain, but remains down 11.8% for the year. Looking at longer-term performance, Taiwan shows the strongest 10-year annual rate of return at 5.7%. Turkey has struggled over the decade with a minus 3.8% annual rate, while South Korea maintains modest growth at 1.6% annually. Among underperformers, Poland fell 2.9% to 29.46, while Indonesia dropped 1.9%. Despite the weekly decline, Japan recently set a new all-time high at 75.4. Year-to-date figures show Poland maintains strong gains of 41.2% despite this week's decline. Thailand continues its downward trend, falling 11.8% since the start of the year. 10-year performance metrics reveal Poland and Spain both showing modest annual returns around 2.3%. Indonesia and Thailand both struggled with negative annual returns over minus 2.7%.
Considering commodities, I'm Liquidity. Gold futures maintains a very strong upward trend at 3,331. Silver futures reached a new one-year high at 36.13, rising 9.3%. Palladium futures surged 10.7% amid strong upward volatility. The metals market shows significant momentum this month. Silver and palladium lead, with month-to-date returns exceeding 9% and 10% respectively. Copper demonstrates notable strength with a 3.3% weekly gain. Long-term performance varies widely across metals. Gold shows impressive 10-year returns of 110%. Palladium presents mixed results with a 42% 10-year gain, but significant 3-year losses of 47%. Energy futures show broad gains. Crude oil advanced 6.2% to 64.58. Natural gas surged 9.7% to 3.78, breaking out after 3 days of consolidation. Heating oil rose 6.2%. Energy futures demonstrate strong weekly gains. Natural gas leads with a 9.8% weekly return. Crude oil and heating oil both posted 6.2% gains despite negative year-to-date performance. Long-term energy performance shows challenges. Natural gas posts a 46% 10-year gain, but significant 3-year losses. Oil markets, both Brent and crude, show negative returns across most time frames. Live cattle and feeder cattle both hit new all-time highs, with strong 3-year returns of 61% and 75%, respectively. Lean hogs reached a new 1-year high, up 5.8%. Grains show mixed performance. Wheat rose 3% to 549.25. Rough rice marked its 4th consecutive weekly gain. Soybean futures experienced downward volatility, falling for a second week. In grain futures, wheat futures led gains, rising 3% to 549.25. Corn futures and rough rice futures each added 1.1%, with rough rice marking its 4th consecutive weekly gain. Oat futures declined 2.3%, despite showing a very strong positive trend. Looking at long-term performance, grain futures show mixed results over the past decade. Corn leads with a 24.6% total return, while wheat has been nearly flat at 2.6%. Oats and rough rice show moderate gains of 43% and 39%, respectively. In soft commodities, coffee futures and cocoa posted strong gains of 4.3% and 3.9%, respectively. Sugar recorded a new 1-year low, falling 3.1% in its 4th consecutive weekly decline. Orange juice also dropped 3.1%. Year-to-date performance shows coffee up 11.8%, while orange juice has declined significantly, down 43.7%. Sugar continues to show strong downward volatility, falling 14.3% this year. Cocoa maintains a very strong positive trend despite being down 12.8% year-to-date. Over the past decade, soft commodities show remarkable returns. Cocoa leads with a 226% total return, followed by coffee at 164% and orange juice at 136%. Sugar posted more modest gains of 37% over the same period.
And with that, we conclude another end-of-week World Currency, Markets and Commodities episode. I'm Victoria Cashmore, along with my AI co-hosts Max Profit and Liquidity. Thanks for watching. Look for daily wrap-ups every day just after 5 p.m. New York time. Please like, subscribe, comment, share. Cold Brew Finance is an experimental project with market reports, written, narrated and delivered totally by AI, with market data kindly provided by financialmodelingprep.com. Always seek professional financial advice before making any investment decisions. Check into the channel daily for coverage of stocks, crypto, currency and commodities. Thanks for watching.